Whilst the deconstruction of the island of saints and scholars is nearing completion, the architects in their haste have forgotten to ask, who will inherit the land? Is it those who kill their young, or those who welcome each as a gift? These moving words were written by Irish pro-life campaigner Tim Jackson in the wake of the devastating abortion referendum result back in 2018. The country which once cherished her preborn young and saw in them hope for the future had overnight decided that what generations of Irish men and women had acknowledged as patently obvious, that babies are to be treasured, not killed, was in fact all a lie peddled by the patriarchy. 1,429,981 Irish citizens, not politicians, voted to repeal the life-saving Eighth Amendment, prompting tasteless scenes of celebration by both the people and the politicians outside Dublin Castle. Fast forward to June 2026, and Irish politicians decide by 86 votes to 70 to remove the 3-day mandatory waiting period for an abortion. The Sinn Féin bill will now get rid of what some pro-lifers see as a safeguard introduced in the 2018 Abortion Act. And so the fact that Ireland has seemingly in record time fallen from grace is indisputable. But how did Ireland get to be in this sorry state? And how do the Irish people restore their country to its former glory? In short, how do the Irish people, invoking St. Patrick, drive out the snakes that seem to have returned? I'm William Curry, and this is Viewpoint. To see what Ireland was and can be once more, we only need look to the first few lines of the preamble to the Irish Constitution. Now, as far as I'm aware, this deeply religious passage still remains in the Constitution. It reads, "In the name of the Most Holy Trinity, from whom is all authority, and to whom, as our final end, all actions both of men and states must be referred, we, the people of Ire, humbly acknowledging all our obligations to our divine Lord, Jesus Christ." And so it goes on. The beauty of these words harkens back to an island where the ringing of church bells at midday prompted people to stop what they were doing and pray the Angelus. But this island, that my grandmothers got to enjoy in their youth, sadly no longer exists. In came the progressives to tell the people that they no longer needed the old religion. In came the abortion zealots, backed by billionaires like the Hungarian George Soros and the American Chuck Feeney, to tell women that their inability to kill their unborn child is really what was holding them back. From around 2013 onwards, pro-lifers in Ireland could feel that a big vote on abortion was coming, and so they organised, and to great effect. They held rallies and they canvassed, getting to over 700,000 doors in the run-up to the referendum. But they are up against two giants. The mainstream media, seemingly in pocket with the pro-abortion government of the day, and the exploitation of the death of Savita Halappanavar. Despite an inquest in 2013 finding that Halappanavar died from, quote, medical misadventure, i.e. poor management of her sepsis, the Irish media, and indeed the world's media, parroted the lie that her death was as a result of her being denied an abortion. And the mainstream media's deceit paid off big time. On 25th of May 2018, over 66% of voters, or 1,429,981 people, voted to repeal the life-saving Eighth Amendment that had stood as a constitutional ban on abortion since 1983. I remember well watching on TV the frankly disturbing scenes of unbridled joy as yes voters packed out the grounds outside Dublin Castle. They were greeted by then Prime Minister Leo Varadkar and current Deputy Prime Minister Simon Harris, both of them gurning from ear to ear. Ironically, both men once claimed to be pro-life, before an apparent change of heart. Now, I'm sure that their change of heart had nothing at all to do with political expediency and a desire to be elected and re-elected. Also present at the abortion party outside Dublin Castle were the now leaders of Sinn Féin, Mary Lou MacDonald and Michelle O'Neill, grinning and holding up a sign that read, "The North is next." And it would take just 1 year for their ominous warning to come to pass. Until 2019, Northern Ireland was the one corner of the United Kingdom where unborn children enjoyed relative protection. That all changed in 2019 when Stella Creasy, MP for Walthamstow, which is about 500 miles from Northern Ireland, hijacked the Northern Ireland Executive Formation Act to decriminalise abortion in Northern Ireland. Westminster was able to impose this act because power sharing at Stormont had fallen through, and so the Assembly wasn't sitting at the time. But surely Sinn Féin, whose whole shtick is Irish self-determination, a united Ireland and keeping Westminster out of Irish affairs, would oppose this overreach from the Brits. Well, no, because Sinn Féin were now very much pro-abortion. And in fact, the year prior, Michelle O'Neill had signed a letter calling on the UK government to decriminalise abortion in Northern Ireland. O'Neill clearly values the apparent right to kill one's child so much that she temporarily suspended her party's raison d'etre. And so in the space of just 2 years, the island of Ireland went from being relatively abortion-free to a place where the scourge of abortion could now run rampant. And what's happened since then? Well, in the very first year of legal abortion in the Republic of Ireland, 2019, there were 6,666 unborn children killed through abortion. I see that ominous figure of 6,666 as no accident. It should come as no surprise then that earlier this year, the Department of Education and Youth published data which showed that 6,470 fewer children are attending primary school this year compared to the last. And then there's the inevitable toll it has taken on those involved in the grisly abortion procedures. Journalist Maria Maines touched on this when I interviewed her for SPUCTV last year.
A really significant rise in the abortion rate. We've had to deal with things such as, things like late-term abortion, which is something that voters were told in 2018 we wouldn't see that happen. One of the things that kind of startled me as a journalist was, this is going back a couple of years, there was a report from doctors in University College Cork where they were surveyed on their experiences of abortion, and they described things like getting sick in the corridors of hospitals, how awful the procedure was, that feticide was being used in Irish hospitals. And I think there would be more interest around abortion and around the cultural shift if we had more journalists who were interested in this issue, in what's going on. And I think there has been somewhat of you could call it a revolution. I don't think it's been really very well analysed what has happened, but there's definitely been a huge shift.
And then in December of 2025, Ireland came within just a single vote of a further expansion of the law that would have decriminalised abortion up to birth. Now, I refuse to conclude this viewpoint on a negative note. I do see glimpses of hope. I see them in people like Father Gabriel Burke, a priest from Cork. In July 2024, Father Burke made the headlines for denying Holy Communion to Irish politician Colin Burke. Father Burke cited Burke's support of abortion legislation. I see glimpses of hope in Irishmen like Dr. Dermot Carney, whom many of you will know. Dr. Carney, though based in England, is an Irish doctor who, as of earlier this year, has helped 37 mothers to save their babies through abortion pill reversal treatment. I see glimpses of hope in people like businessman Declan Ganley, who used his stature for good in campaigning for a no vote in 2018, making frequent media appearances in the run-up. I also see glimpses of hope in the ordinary Irish men and women who continue to protest the horror of abortion, both north and south, as many did just recently at the annual Rally for Life in Belfast. I'll return to Tim Jackson's question that I referenced at the very start. Who will inherit the land? Is it those who kill their young, or those who welcome each as a gift? I'm pleased to say he put forward an answer. I know the answer, many know the truth, but the pain of stamping on the faces of Irish saints, martyrs, patriots and children is too much to witness. The land that kept the flame of Western civilization alive on Skellig Michael, in Glendalough and Clonmacnoise, has become a savage parody of nobler days gone by. Exiled and dejected, it is to the empty tomb that we turn again. He is risen and with us, and we will not forget.